Honorable Commission, all those having business, draw near.
Good morning and thank you. You may be seated at this time. Let me first ask now everyone to please, ma'am, please, sir, check your cell phones, all right? Because silence is commanded, that we proceed with the business of Chatham County. And I don't want the deputy and the chief and those to go with your cell phone to the bed and breakfast, because it'll be trouble getting it back. All right, so please, ma'am, please, sir, check your cell phones as we move forward. We're so grateful today to have with us for our inspiration and our invocation, Reverend Cornelius J.E. Lloyd, who is a graduate from Jenkins High School in 2001. Also a graduate from a bachelor's from Georgia State University, as well as from the Columbus Theological Seminary, where he gained his Master's of Divinity degree. He also served as the pastor of the First African Baptist Church of East Savannah. And I happen to know that Reverend Lloyd is the son of one of my best friends, one of my great friends. His father is the Reverend Marvin L. Lloyd over at on Little Bryant over on Gwinnett Street, neighborhood I grew up partially in. So we're so happy to have you with us today, sir. And if you will, when you get through with your inspiration, when you get time ready for us to have prayer for invocation, please, I ask everyone to restand, all right? And after the inspiration and invocation, then we'll be led in the pledge by Commissioner Stone. Reverend Lloyd, the mic is yours. I'm happy to have you here.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you all on today. Thankful for you, Chairman Ellis, and your leadership, and all of the other commissioners. Thank you for that introduction. I want to open with this particular scripture coming from Proverbs 4:3-9. It says, "When I was a boy at my father's knee, the pride and joy of my mother, he would sit me down and drill me. Take this to heart. Do what I tell you. Live. Sell everything and buy wisdom. Forage for understanding. Don't forget one word. Don't deviate an inch. Never walk away from wisdom. She guards your life. Love her. She keeps her eye on you. Above all and before all, do this. Get wisdom. Write this at the top of your list. Get understanding. Throw your arms around her. Believe me, you won't regret it. Never let her go. She'll make your life glorious. She'll garland your life with grace. She'll festoon or cover or decorate your days with beauty." As we gather today, let us take a moment to reflect on the core principles that guide our work: wisdom and justice. Let us know that we are here to set examples and to be pillars, not only to shape our decisions, but also define the very essence of our commitment to the residents of Chatham County. Wisdom comes from understanding and empathy. It requires us to listen deeply and to consider the diverse perspectives of our community. Each voice in Chatham County matters. Everyone contributes to the rich tapestry of our collective experience. As we engage in discussions today, let us approach each topic with an open heart and discerning mind, seeking not to just respond, but truly to understand the needs and aspirations of our neighbors. Justice, on the other hand, is about the fairness and equity. It compels us to advocate for policies and actions that uplift all members of our community, particularly those who have been marginalized or overlooked. In our roles as public servants, we are tasked with ensuring that every resident of Chatham County has access and opportunity, resources, and vision in decision-making process that affects their lives. As we convene for this meeting, let us remember that our work is not just about governance, but it's about service. It is about creating a Chatham County where everyone feels valued and included, a place where justice prevails and where wise decisions lead us to a brighter future. In this spirit of collaboration and respect, let us foster a peaceful atmosphere in our discussions today, May we express our ideas thoughtfully, listen to one another with patience, and work collectively towards solutions that reflect the best of our community. Let us be inspired by the knowledge that our efforts today have the power to shape a better tomorrow for all. Together, we can build a Chatham County that stands as a beacon of wisdom and justice. We thank you for your commitment to this important work as we begin our meeting with purpose and shared vision for our community. Can we stand for the invocation? Heavenly God, our Creator, we give you thanks for the day that you've given us, one that we've never seen before. As we come to do the business of this county, lead, guide, direct, open minds and hearts. Let us be what the call of action is for today as we plant seeds for our tomorrow. Let those seeds grow to be strong trees that provide what we need for our community to stand. Let us continue to be a beacon of hope and light in a world that is troubled and challenged, and there may be chaos all around. You be the peace that guides us from now henceforth more and forevermore. In Christ's name we pray, we say amen.
Amen. Commissioner Stone.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. To Pastor Lloyd, we thank you. No, come back this way now. Come back this way. Come back this way. Yeah, we cannot pay you, but we would like to give you this letter of appreciation for your taking time out of your schedule to come and be with us today, and for leading us in our inspiration and for our words of encouragement. We thank you. It's a good way to begin a day. All right. With that, roll call.
Chester A. Ellis, Chairman.
Present.
Helen L. Stone, District 1, Vice Chairman.
Present.
Dean Kicklighter, District 7, Chairman Pro Tem. Melinda Scott Hodge, District 2.
Present.
Bobby Lockett, District 3.
Here.
Patrick K. Farrell, District 4.
Here.
Tanya Milton, District 5.
Present.
Aaron Whiteley, District 6.
Here. Welcome back,
Kenneth-
Janice.
Kenneth A. Adams, District 8.
Let me have a motion and a second that we excuse Commissioner Adams for medical purposes, and at the same time, I'll tell you, let us stay in prayer for him.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I second.
Properly motion and second that Commissioner Adams be excused. Are we ready for the question? Please cast your votes. Three's not working. Bobby, yours not working?
My fault, sorry. It's not working again.
Okay. All right.
Second meeting,
He votes yes.
yes, yes.
Okay. So we have to have them check that, okay? May I have from the Homeless Authority? May I have the Executive Director to please come as I prepare to read this proclamation? Have we got that over there? Is the proclamation there?
Chairman, could I invite members of the NRHC Council on Homelessness, Homeless Service
Everybody
Providers?
you want can come. Come one, come all.
Come one, come all.
All who want to come one, come all. The more the merrier. The County of Chatham, Georgia, proclamation. Whereas homelessness is a challenge that has existed in Chatham County, across the state, and throughout the nation for many decades, impacting the lives of individuals and families. And whereas Chatham County partners with numerous public and private agencies to develop solutions to homelessness that truly addresses the underlying cause for each individual who finds himself or herself unhoused, and whereas we recognize that many of those living on the streets are people from our community who fell into hard times and other difficult situations that led them to experience homelessness. Now therefore, I, Chester A. Ellis, Chairman, on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim November 2024 as Homeless Awareness Month in Chatham County, and encourage all citizens to be aware that many people do not have housing and need support from residents as well as private and public service entities. In witness whereof, I hereto set my hands and cause the seal of Chatham County, Georgia, to be affixed this 15th day of November 2024. The mic is yours. Now, you notice I skip a lot. I wrote more than
Yes,
that.
sir. We all want to say thank you for standing in solidarity and advocacy for people in our community experiencing homelessness. We know that homelessness is a complex issue. It's going to require all of us working together, county, city, service providers, public and private partnership, and these are just some of the representatives who stand with us as well. And so I just want to say thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commission. It's such an honor to be here. It's an honor to have this deepened partnership. It's an honor to have your recent investments in the mobile shower program, other homeless services. And so I just can't say thank you enough. We all just can't say thank you enough. So thank you for your support. We hope to see you out on Monday at 2 o'clock at Kingdom Life Christian Fellowship with Pastor Roberson as we launch and have the shower showcase for the community. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, and would you now, while you're at the mic, would you give them an update on the Blue Star that we just put over on Dundee Street?
Yes, so for some of you who may not be aware, our community was awarded the National Blue Star Memorial Marker. It's one of 5,000 in the country, and so that community is now being recognized and set apart as a community that is changing the lives of veterans, and specifically those who are experiencing homelessness. And so that national recognition was supported by Chairman Ellis and many others, Mayor Johnson, Congressman Buddy Carter, other state representatives, the garrison commander participated. And really, it again focuses on the fact that we as a community believe that no one who served our country should ever experience homelessness, and no one who served our country should be without a roof. And so that community has been an impetus for many other veterans' tiny house communities throughout the country, and so we should be very proud to have that community be homed here in Chatham-Savannah. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to point that out is because some of us who from the old school, all right, we remember when that area was called the Fort, all right, before the building of Hitch Village and before the building of all of it. And one of the reasons I wanted to do that is because it recognized the veterans who live in those small, tiny houses. But there are veterans, like, for instance, just 2 blocks up, Lieutenant John White, who was a Mumford Marine, who served in the World War II and the Korean conflict. He still lives in that neighborhood that he ran, along with Reverend Willie Owler and Mr. Willie Williams Jr., all right? So that's why it gave me a great pleasure to be a part of that Blue Star there, because those veterans who ran those hollow ground, I call them hollow ground because they're sacred, and knowing that they were there back when the fort was there, and now the Blue Star is there, which recognized those veterans and recognized this county, all right, as a Blue Star county. And I wanted to make sure that the commissioners knew that, all right? Any comments from any commissioner? All right, okay. Thank you, okay.
I want to say something to the backup girls, the backup singers. She has so much energy that I'm sure that you all just kind of got drawn into her and support that efforts. And I'm really pleased at all the efforts that y'all put out there. Thank you. You're making a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah, we thank you for all the work and things that you do, especially with our homeless, because there is a solution to that problem if we only work at it. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I want to thank you all for your efforts. Well, the mic's are loud today. For your efforts in addressing homelessness, and I know it's a challenge that the 6th District is definitely focused on, so please let me know how I can be of any assistance. I was very proud to be able to hear the 5-year plan and also see the work that's been done up to this point, so I don't want folks listening today to assume that just because we're just hearing of a plan that there hasn't been efforts, because I know for a fact there have been efforts. But as the chairman says, as you said, this is something that we all have to work together on. So I look forward to working with y'all. But thank you all for your efforts, because I know those folks, your case managers, the folks who are boots on ground, those folks who are helping people find homes, housing, who are helping people get out of hotels. You guys are unsung heroes, and I want to make sure y'all know that you are extremely appreciated, but also recognized by this commission.
Okay, thank you all. Have a blessed day. At this time, let me call to our front, for those who are here, Mr. Monahan and Mr. Green, if you all will come for Vision 2033 and the strategy initiated, all right?
Morning, Mr. Chairman,
All right.
Commissioners. Thank you all for letting us come back for the second time. Just to kind of recap, we first came up with this idea several years ago. Then COVID happened. There was a change in administrations at City Hall, and the $1 million that they had approved got caught up in those two events. Because of Mr. Monahan's appointment as an interim city manager, he helped move that forward. The $1 million I had raised from the private sector remained steady. In conversations with the chairman and the county manager, it was a blessing, really, because when we first got started, Hyundai wasn't even a thought. But as Commissioner Kicklight can tell you, it's had a tremendous impact on Chatham County and will continue to have an impact, because they've just finished and start making cars, but they're also going to build a $4 billion plant to manufacture electric batteries and hydrogen. So what's happening in that area and the impact it's going to have population-wise is just begun. And as the county, which is the constitutional entity, the highest government in the county, is being squeezed by the growth in all the municipalities. So it's really a land grab, and I say that, you know, I don't say it in any kind of pejorative sense, but as we look out over the next 8 to 10 years, it's who's going to live where. And so I think that's part of the reason the chairman and the county manager said we need to be at that table as a full partner. And this is going to be a plan that's driven by professional planners, and the way it differs from, and we talked about this, you have a number of plans, and there's a list every bit as long at the city, but you have the individual state mandated comprehensive plans like the MPC's Plan 2040, the Chatham County Indicators Coalition, the county's One Chatham, and you have the mayor's task force. All of those worthy, all of them have produced great information. But the problem is that the city staff and the county staff are so busy running the county, running the city, they can develop the plans, but they don't have the time and the resources to implement them. So oftentimes they stay on the shelf, and then after a few years they become outdated. So the theory behind this is we're going to raise $3 million now, and I'm going to go out and, after this gets, I have $2 million in public funds, gives me a bully pulpit to go out and raise another $1 million from the private sector. That will allow us to bring in some professional staff that will help pick who the professional urban planners are to come in and work with the community, come up with a plan, bring that back to the community, see what areas that they want to adopt. And then that organization will continue to exist to drive those projects forward, working in conjunction with the city staff, the county staff, the MPC, private sector organizations, just like the folks that we hear about trying to solve the problem with poverty. So we want this to be an aspirational effort. We want to try to take the county and all the municipalities to another place, and we think that these resources will help make that happen. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions from any commissioner? All right, Commissioner Whiteley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Green, thanks for coming. As I see the Executive Director of MPC come in, I wonder, my question is, how would the collaboration between MPC and this entity work?
Well, the MPC would be a critical partner in that.
Right, I understand.
Without question. In fact, she and I have been trying to get together the last couple of weeks. I had a death in my family and sort of kept me sidelined for about 2 weeks. So she might be here to grab me and say, when we're
Yeah, I was
going to
about
have
to say,
coffee.
well, please y'all connect, because that would be one of my biggest concern or question, if you will, just how they'll work together, considering we already fund that entity,
Right.
and that's their role that they play
Yeah.
with us. I want to make sure that we're, being efficient with our taxpayers' dollars.
Absolutely. And I'm sure she would reiterate what I said in the sense that when they're making decisions, they're putting out fires every day.
Right.
And so, I've referenced her plan here. All of those are going to be intimate parts of this. This is just an effort for us to try to bring it together. And, then when we get that, what comes out of it, then you bring it back to the city, the county, the MPC, and the community and say, what elements of this do you like? What do we want to focus on? One of the things that I was particularly interested in is moving forward, what are the economic pillars of the community? We have manufacturing, we have the port, we have tourism, we have the military. But the largest industry in the country is medicine. Now, we're very blessed that we have HCA, which owns Memorial. To give you a sense of how big Hospital Corporation of America is, Gulfstream is owned by General Dynamics. HCA is bigger than General Dynamics. They've announced that they're going to build a nursing school in Mr. Kicklighter's district. Now, the state of Georgia has announced that they're going to build a 4-year medical school, an adjunct of Augusta Medical, on the Armstrong campus of Georgia Southern. They're also going to build a 3-year dental school. So I think as you look at Chatham County, it's an interesting location. We're confined by, we are in the state of Georgia, but we are the economic center for all of coastal South Carolina and coastal Georgia. So what will continue to make us prosper in that role? Healthcare. But there are all number of aspects of healthcare. You have medical vacations, people that want to come to Savannah, have surgery or get a treatment and vacation as well. But you also have, billing systems, AI, that's an industry that doesn't need water. It doesn't pollute. They have great jobs. And so those are the kind of things that I hope will come out of this. And healthcare will cement Chatham County as the center of coastal Georgia, coastal South Carolina economies.
Yes, sir. Well, before, I just want to say, I definitely love this idea of us being proactive, especially considering that we're growing so fast. I hope that there is area planning that is associated with this as we talk about the different zoning and stuff like that. I would like to see that. But, I know y'all come before us before. When are we going to get the show on the road?
Well,
because time is ticking, and I'd love to get to a point where we're ready to get the ball rolling. Of course, once we get any questions that we have answered beforehand.
Well, I think I've been advised by the chairman and the manager that they've identified the funds, and that's why we're here today. Hopefully, y'all will be able to take a vote, and then once that's done, we'll bring back the comprehensive agreement.
All right.
Thank you.
Got you?
Thank
All right,
you,
let me
Commissioner
go- I'm
Whiteley.
coming. Let me go to Commissioner Lockett.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Mr. Green, first of all, let me just congratulate you all for being ahead of the curve. We know that Chatham County now is in the process of growing, and some big things are happening, and I've noticed your organization, you all are always ahead of the curve, and I just advise you all to just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for what you're doing.
All right, I'm coming. Commissioner Kicklighter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Green, thank you for everything you've done in the past and you continue to do for our community.
Those charges were dropped.
I just want to ask you, because this is a substantial amount of monies that the county would be putting in towards this project. Off the top of your head, in the year 2033, when you ride through my district, through the areas that's currently not developed, what are you riding through?
Well, I hope I'm not riding through industrial parks.
Good enough, thank you.
And
You need not say another word, so you're on the same page with me then.
That's part of what this plan should avoid.
Yes, sir.
And I've invested in industrial property but it has a time and its place.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I wish I owned 1,000 acres of industrial land right now. It'd be great, but
Right. But the truth is, we don't have 1,000 acres.
Exactly.
And so we have to be better at planning what we're gonna do. And the city of Savannah and the county, I think we have to take a look at density. We have to say, well, we didn't want anything to be taller than 3 or 4 stories. But that just may not be realistic.
right.
That doesn't mean we can't have quality growth that's 4 stories or 5. And that certainly doesn't mean that you want to do that in the middle of the historic district. But
Right.
there's a great quote by Mark Twain that said, "I'm all for progress, I just don't want change." Well, they sort of go hand in hand. But I think that's one of the things we really have to do is come up with a better land use plan.
Right, and thankfully for the public watching at home, what you need to understand is, Mr. Green hit on it a little bit there. We're not only just the center for Carolina and Georgia, basically. We're pretty much located right in the middle of New York and Miami, on the East Coast with air, rail, and the ports here. So we are, I believe, a big part of the future for the country, in a sense, because we're pretty much, I think, located in the best spot around for growth. So the fact remains that, and I'm on Facebook and all that, and I read comments, and I'm as disgusted getting stuck in traffic as anyone else is. But the fact remains that we are not going to stop the growth. In fact, the governor has been telling the chairman our population is going to triple within a few years.
Yep.
We can't stop the growth, but what we can do with some smart planning, we can actually guide the growth in the best direction possible to have the least amount of effect on our quality of life living here in this area. And so I want to thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'm, like Commissioner Whiteley said, I'm ready to, we could have started yesterday on this because it'll be a great thing to get that planned out and get the residential areas out there with a good mixture, actual mixture of the proper type businesses to serve it. And will this also address, or I guess it'll be a plan we can hand to the state leaders that should probably be 10-laning I-16 to Metter at this moment rather than stopping the 6 lanes at I-95? Will this be
Yeah.
something that will help?
Right. I was on the phone with the speaker, and I said, I'm chairman of the airport commission, and we are not trying to compete with Hartsfield-Jackson. That's the world's biggest airport.
Right.
But I said, if you look at how long it takes you to get from Atlanta to Macon, which is 2.5 to 3 hours, sometimes 4 if there's an accident. But if you look at, if we get international flights into Savannah, those can take care of Columbus, Albany, Augusta, Macon, Savannah, all of southwest Georgia, and in a much more efficient way than flying into Atlanta, than having to drive through Macon and get to the rest of the state.
Right.
And so the speaker's aware of that. I said, we've been working on trying to get international service here. We've gotten some interest from Scotland and Ireland, but we just have to be aware of that, particularly now that you have Hyundai and all the growth that they're going to have. So that kind of international traffic, it would be nice if they didn't have to go through Atlanta.
Right, right. Is the Airport Commission also looking at six-laning their part of the, what would be the Pooler Parkway, but it's your side
Yeah,
that y'all own?
yeah, we've been working very closely with GDOT.
Wonderful.
So, and I
And I
have
know
to,
that's something the chairman and I've discussed quite a bit too, as we're looking at all the different things out there that's gonna have to be improved with the next SPLOST vote, and if there, God forbid, ever be a T-SPLOST come up at some point.
I was about to say, I give this commission high marks for voting for a T-SPLOST some years ago. That's been real leadership, real vision on y'all's part, and I commend y'all for that. And I think that the business community understands the criticality of getting that T-SPLOST passed, because transportation is going to be critical in how we develop the rest of the county.
Yes, but thanks again for everything you do.
Well, thank you. Thanks.
All right, Commissioner Farrell.
Yep. Hey, Steve, welcome to the commission chambers.
Thank you.
This body, helps fund MPC, and there's a 2040 plan that they work on that we pay for. Could you help differentiate between what they're doing and what your proposal is?
Well, I don't know that there's anything different. I think what we're going to try to do is bring in professional planners that can bring some ideas from around the country, and I hesitate to say around the world, but the idea is that when we bring this plan together, we'll be an entity that can work with the MPC staff to help move the things that we all identify to go forward. The issue with the MPC, just like the county, just like the city, all the other organizations, you have a plan, but you're so busy running, answering the phone that you can't go to the supermarket, if that makes any sense. That's a poor analogy maybe. So what we're hoping through this is to, give that help to organizations like that. The MPC is absolutely critical to the success of this.
Well, that's,
But they don't, they don't necessarily have an opportunity to make Pooler, Port Wentworth, some of the municipalities, do what they want.
right. Well, just from a funding seat that I sit on, I hate to duplicate anything. I mean, we should probably do one or the other if we're gonna, and not fund two parallel planning programs.
Well, I
And
think
I'm-
what
And yours may be the superior one, or
Well,
not, I don't know, but.
I wouldn't
but
say it's superior.
I'm just saying, when
I-
we spend taxpayer money, we should do probably one or the other and not do two identical, or if they're identical, or if they're not. If they're different, then they're different.
Well, they're not going to be identical, but I would say that what we bring to the table that the MPC does not is, I've already raised $1 million from the private sector, and I think I can raise another $1 million. The MPC can't do that. They're
Right.
not empowered to do that, and that's not their job.
Right.
So that's how we can take some public money and double that and get $4 million on the table. I mean, I can't guarantee you I'm going to get the other $1 million, but I've gotten one. And I'm pretty certain that we'll be able to raise some additional money. We've got a lot of interest. So, but, candidly, I have not tried to do that because, I talked to the chairman, to other commissioners. There was a lot of support for this. It's going to be a whole lot easier for me to raise another $1 million since I've got three.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Commissioner Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Green, thank you so much for being here and for your presentation. And I just wish you were here 10 years ago. And I mean that I somewhat respectfully disagree with my colleague that we're not ahead of the curve here. We're a little bit behind. And when I was a part of the MPC, we initiated a tricentennial plan. And I know that you all have not had a chance to connect, but I really would like you to do that and see how their plan correlates with your plan. Like Commissioner Farrell just said, if we're running on a parallel track. But I kind of cringe a little bit that I don't think we were as prepared for the growth that we're seeing and experiencing right now, based on the fact that we have had incidents with larger numbers of traffic than we ever anticipated. So I think the sooner we get on this, like I said, I wish it had been 10 years ago, but nobody has a crystal ball. But I think that it's paramount that we get going on this. And I don't know when you and the MPC can connect, but the sooner the better.
All right. All right, Commissioner Kicklight again.
Thank you. To maybe help clarify for everyone here as well as myself, correct me if I'm wrong here. Yours would differ greatly because y'all would include, your study would include everywhere in Chatham County,
Correct.
each and every city.
Yes.
Okay. The MPC with their plan includes unincorporated Chatham and the city of Savannah, because that's the two that fund it. They do not include Pooler, Bloomingdale, Port Wentworth, Tybee, none of the other areas. And the way I see it, what happens is we can have a great plan over here. Pooler may have a great plan for themselves. Port Wentworth may have a great plan. But y'all remember a candidate got shot recently because the police couldn't communicate with each other? Well, the future president now, when he got shot. Each group had their own little method of plan, but they wasn't communicating. Same thing here, if we can bring it together under one group, it's gonna be a huge benefit. And I hope that y'all will be, I would assume that you're going to take into account the hodgepodge of annexations.
Yeah.
And that'll be a sore subject to tackle, but some type of recommendations in there, should cities try to pursue annexation, there really needs to be some sort of something that makes sense about it. And one example, Steve, we've got certain cities we're dealing with, as of right this moment, we're dealing with one thing where a city owns a road that's way away from their huge population center, that we're trying to beg them to go patrol it because it's a city road and unincorporated residents that needs some police patrols on that street to slow people down, and we can't. So a part of this is for this county to run smoothly, as well as just what's located here, our roads need to make sense. That should come under this plan too, and it's gonna add more to it, but where we go down, what's the name of the road New Hampstead's on, the high school and all?
Little Neck.
Yeah, Little Neck. You've got Bloomingdale with one area, Chatham County with 300 yards of road, Savannah with 1.5 miles, Chatham County again. You'll have one fix their little small area, and you'll have potholes galore in another. People call, they don't know who to complain to unless we go out there with a measuring tape. We don't even really know who owns what part, and it's so confusing, and it gives the area such a bad, it makes it nearly impossible to serve them in a good manner, serve them like we should serve them. So if y'all can include that, and Pat was here all those years and saw that sporadic annexations that took place. If that can be addressed with this too, it would be a major, major help for our whole community, and it'll be a help with transportation and everything else through there, so.
Right. Well, with that, let me invite Pat up. And also, I forgot this is being televised. For those watching in, that was a joke about those charges being dropped. You want to join?
Thank you, Steve. I don't know if I want to hear from Melanie. I see she's anxious to talk. But let me address a point that Commissioner Farrell made about the comprehensive plan. And the comprehensive plan does include Garden City and Pooler. Your comprehensive plan includes.
It did include Garden
does
City and
include
Pooler.
those.
Okay.
But if you take a look, because Commissioner Farrell asked, what's the difference? Well, if you take a look at the comprehensive plan, and you know what? I think the 4 or 5 that I've read in my years here, latest version is probably the best one. I think it's comprehensive. It's based on data collection, the same methodology used in the community blueprint. another excellent document. And I think those will provide basic information for the consultant that arrives. In fact, I think the consultant's work will be a little bit cheaper because of the existence of those documents. I think those will help. But to Commissioner Farrell's point, what's the difference? Well, your comprehensive plan has 8 chapters. It has the final chapters includes a work plan and a short-term work plan. Believe it or not, I still read all that stuff even in my retirement. So there are 120 items in that short-term work plan. How many of them were supposed to be achieved by 2023? You probably don't know. Well, about 60 of them, about half of them. How many have been achieved? You don't know, and I don't know. And that's the point that I think Mr. Green was making, that a nonprofit group whose sole task is to not only develop the strategic plan, but also the accountability of providing, quarterly reports to this commission and to every primary governing body within the community, to provide an annual report, including to the citizens. Newspaper, maybe it's a direct publication. This is where we are in the strategic plan. That's a mistake that we learned from the 2020 vision plan. There was no follow-up, no accountability for this community to understand, well, here are the 10 areas that we want to identify that you helped us to identify, through an engagement process that include what did they call it? It was a town hall meeting, but it was by telephone. Now, technology's changed a lot. I mean, I can envision a town hall meeting where everyone in the community who's maybe even a registered voter, everyone gets alerted through an email that here's an opportunity for a town hall meeting, and you can participate. Tell us what your vision of the community is. Tell us about the traffic issues. Tell us about the warehouse development in West Chatham County. Tell us about poverty. Tell us about we need more tiny houses. Anyway, that's kind of my take on it, and that's why. And just for the record, Steve Green and I are, we're purely volunteer. We have no anticipation of getting paid. Together, we probably put in a couple hundred hours. We have drafted both the intergovernmental agreement, the bylaws, and the articles of incorporation. So to answer the other question, we're ready to move as long as we know the county's commitments there. We've also met with the mayor and city manager. We know the city's commitments there. Steve, Mr. Green has also met with the private community, the private sector community about their contribution. So I think we're ready to roll.
Does the plan include, the comprehensive plan that we have now already include all of the cities?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Every one of them, not just,
right,
okay, not
right.
just Pooler and Garden City.
Right. Although if you take a look at the unincorporated area, City of Savannah and those other 2 municipalities, that's probably 90% of the county in terms of population.
Oh, yeah.
Today,
Yeah.
20 years from now, that may not be the case.
Right. But that's what I'm
Yes,
hoping that this will guide.
Yes, sir.
This final frontier that's not developed is what this thing will really help
Yes, sir.
do, so.
All right, I got everybody? All right, Commissioner Hodge?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did want to, because I do support the plan, I do feel it's a comprehensive look at some of our areas of concern. One of the things I noticed, Chatham County, I share Helen's sentiment about us being behind because we serve a much larger population than what is on record. We have a very large number of residents who aren't residents of record, who are here for long-term work assignments, who are students who aren't necessarily residents of Savannah, but we provide our services. Our infrastructure is impacted by these large number of people who remain here for an extended period of time. And so Chatham County is not right-sized, in my opinion, from what I've seen, as far as the numbers of people on record that we serve and the number of people that we probably actually serve. And I think that something like this allows us to implement projects sooner than later, because I think some of the general public's frustration is how long it takes in order for us to make things happen, and it costs money. So I think this is an added value opportunity for us to get projects out sooner than later, and I did want to share that with my colleagues because I do support the plan. I think I think it will save us in the long run.
Okay. Commissioner White, you again?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So just to be clear, we would, if there were an action today, it would be to pledge support, and I'm asking, it would be to pledge the $1 million, but then before that is actually, we would have time before that we actually move forward with the the actual expenditure?
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Expenditure.
We've already allocated money in the budget for this process. What would happen next? We wanted Mr. Green and Mr. Monahan to come in and make a presentation to you, a second one, to make sure we've got all the questions on the table. The next action would be to bring back to you an agreement that would be voted on and signed by the chairman to officially kick off this process.
Okay. Now, okay, so one question I have is I'd like to kind of clarify what Commissioner Kicklighter asked. He said that currently MPC does not, they only serve unincorporated in city of Savannah.
I think to clarify that, MPC is funded by the city and the county, but MPC does the comprehensive plan. A lot of what MPC looks at is countywide, but it's only funded right now by the city and the county, and that's been a contention that we've had for a number of years.
And I want to clarify on that.
Excuse me just a second, Mr. Kicklighter. So can we have the executive director of MPC here. Can we have her kind of speak to this?
No, I'm not gonna do that. Let me tell you why. All right. You know, if you pull the wrong thread on your coat, you best try and get a hold. I don't want what Mr. Green and what Mr. Monahan said, and then what the MPC, I don't want nobody to pick a hole that they do anything. What I really would like to do is what they've been trying to do is let the MPC and Mr. Green and them get together so that there is no way for somebody to separate or to pick. You know how some folks just look at stuff so they can find fault with it? So why don't we let them get together, then they can come back to us, because the manager need to prepare the documents so that we can pass them in here, all right? So since we did, because here's what I know from MPC. The city of Savannah and the county are part of it. The other municipalities, they are trying to get to join them, all right? And they now are starting to get the smaller municipalities to come to them to do, because everybody has planned for growth. Yeah, we got caught off guard, all right? And we have to admit that. We got caught slap off guard because we didn't know, number one, we didn't know 10 years ago the port was gonna grow as fast as it grew, and it's growing. The second part is we didn't know Hyundai was coming, and now it is. And so it's putting a burden on us, and this is things I've talked with the state folks as well as the federal folks, the burden that it's putting on Chatham County. What I really would like for them to do is let them get together so that we know they're singing the same song, all right, and on the same page, all right? And I'm not trying to block, but I think that I saw her nodding when at comments that Mr. Monahan was saying. So let them get together so that they come and there is no separation that people can make between that, okay?
And I understand that, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
and okay, right?
All right.
I just want to say, then this has been a complete waste of our time, because y'all have been before us already, and that conversation has not happened. And that's why I'm saying,
All right,
you
well,
know, they could have done that a long time ago.
Well, we're on the page now, and so let's make
Yes,
it
sir.
happen. We want
Thank you.
action rather than words.
Yes, sir. Thank
That's
you,
where
Mr.
I'm
Chairman.
getting to.
And
All
Mr.
right?
Chairman, I would-
Come on, I'm entertaining you for the last time,
Thank
and then
you.
I'm cutting it off. Yes, sir.
I just want to say every city in our county has their own plan.
Has their own plan.
So whether or not they were included in our great plan, don't mean that they're using that plan whatsoever, because
Right.
they have their own planning commission making their plans.
Right.
So this should help by bringing everybody, well, I mean, and hopefully y'all will be working with them as well, not just showing them what you'll get their input, and
Right.
we can come to a community agreement, and that way it's all under one fort there and one group. But that's the difference, is each one of us has our own little planning commission. And so it'll be
And not
good
together.
It'll be good if everybody kind of agrees to come
Bring
under
this
one.
together.
And I
Group
agree.
here.
I just want the record to reflect, I agree
him
wholeheartedly
finish. Let him
with the
finish.
plan. I don't have any issue with it. I'm curious about the details, that's
Yeah,
all.
and Mr. Chairman, if I could, if any commissioner has question, anything that needs to be clarified, please to get that to me. I'll make sure that when we come back to you, all those issues are ironed out and we've got the details for you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Monahan. Listen, and it's good to see you. All right? It's good to, yeah, it's good to see you. And we thank you for all that you said and all that you've done, all right? Mr. Green, you need to say?
I just want to clarify one thing, Commissioner Whiteley. I haven't gone to the MPC or any department at the city or the county or anywhere else. I've gone to where the money is. Once I get the money, then I can sit down with different folks and start to say, how do we collaborate?
Yeah.
But that's sort of putting the cart in front of the horse.
All right. Okay.
Thank you for your work. I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Appreciate
And
that. All right,
let
let's
me
move.
say thank you to the commission for being forward-thinking.
All right.
You know, thank you.
All right, y'all told me in the green room, y'all wanted to be short and sweet and to the point. Now, y'all the one who dragging it. No commissioner, no chairman item, no commissioner item. All right. There's an item on the table. May I have a motion to take it off the table?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Properly motion and second that the table item be taken off the table. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. We're taking it off the table now. That's what you're voting for.
Yay.
All right. Commissioner Lockett's light's not working, so he votes yeah. All right. Now, we will be using this, the untabled item now becomes a first reader. We're gonna read it into the records, and then that will give anyone who has words of praise for it or words of dissatisfaction with it to come. The petitioner, One Gateway Boulevard LLC, is proposing to rezone/map amendment to convert an existing hotel development into a multifamily residential use located at 1 East Gateway Boulevard, MPC file number Z-24-000-494, pin 11028-01017. The MPC recommends approval with condition as read into the records, and we got it straight now. It's in District 6.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll have the second reading of that at our next meeting. All right, now we go to items for individual action. To request the board approval of the following budget amendments and transfers, fiscal year 2024, in the general fund, increased revenues and expenditures, $258,700 as listed in attachment 1. 2, in the special service district, increased transfers in from the hotel motel fund and contingency, $691,927. 3, in the hotel motel fund, increased revenues and expenditures, $691,927 to transfer out to the special service district. 4, in the inmate welfare fund, increased revenue and expenditures, $850,000. 5, in the general fund, M&O, special service district, special revenue, internal service, capital improvement, and enterprise fund, approve final resolution as shown on attachment 3, 4, and 5. Fiscal year 25, in the general fund, transfer $40,000 from contingency to the aquatic center benefit. B, appropriate fund balance $825,000 to transfer out to the storm disaster fund as listed in attachment 2. 2, in the National Opioid Settlement Fund, increased revenues and expenditures, $3,681. In 3, in the American Rescue Fund Plan, transfer funds between projects as shown in attachment 6. 4, in the multi-grant fund, increased revenues and expenditures, $153,042 for the Georgia Department of Family and Children's Service Family Resource Center grant, increased revenues and expenditures, $3,000 for the Georgia Emergency Management Agency K-9 unit grant, and $152,500 for the Georgia Emergency Management Agency SWAT Unit Grant as shown in Attachment 8. 5, in the Storm Disaster Fund as listed in Attachment 2, an increased transfer in from the General Fund, $825,000. Increased transfer in from the Special Service District, $1 million. Increased federal revenue, $12,950,000. Increase Hurricane Helena's project budget, $14,800,000. In the Special Service District appropriate fund balance, $1 million to transfer out to the Storm Disaster Fund as listed in Attachment 2. In the Sales Tax 4 Fund, transfer and amend project budget as listed in Attachment, Attachment 9. And in the Sales Tax 7 Fund, transfer and amend budget, project budget as shown in Attachment 9. All right, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the transfers as stated, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Properly motion and transfer that, properly motion and second that the transfer be approved. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. Oh, we got Commissioner Lockett's light working now, good. You fixed it?
Oh, wow.
We got a mechanic on the.
What'd you do? Got the Midas.
Transmittal of fiscal year 2024-2025 first quarter financial report for information. That calls for Ms. Davis.
Good morning, Chairman.
Morning.
How are you today?
Great.
Well, you guys are very, very fortunate because I do know how to keep it very short and very sweet. And you could even say it's my superpower. So, first quarter reports are generally kind of dull because we don't have a whole lot of our revenue coming in just yet. Our taxes have been coming in primarily in October and November, but this is a September report. So, as of September 30th, we had general fund revenue of $33.3 million and expenditures of $85.1, which is typical for this point in the year, so a net decrease in our fund balance of $51.8. Special Service District, revenue of $4.9 million and expenditures of $20.7 for a deficit of $15.8 million. And again, this is typical of this time of the year because we receive our first installment of the tax payments in October and November. And in our Sales Tax 7 collections, our first quarter collections were $30.4 million, which roughly about $10 million a month, as we've been kind of consistent with. Total since inception is $436 million. So in November, we'll be past the $440 million, and we'll start to distribute back to the cities again. And then our lost collections were $5.25 million. And in our cash and investments, we have almost $600 million in cash and investments. And just in the first quarter, we had $8.4 million in investment earnings, which includes about $5.4 million of unrealized earnings, but $2.8 was actual cash in the bank earnings. And so at that rate, we could look at maybe $10 million in investment earnings this year. So just to pat myself on the back, if you will. And that is all I have today. Is there any questions?
All right, questions to my right. Any questions? All right, to my left. All right, question.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Ms.
White.
Davis. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there, do you have available any detail? Well, no, this is only revenues, right?
No, this is in expenditures as well. It's the net effect. I mean, it's the full financial statements.
So can you send us like the detailed for the county? But the details?
It is in the attachments.
Okay, cool. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, all the detail and this slide presentation is in the attachments.
Thank you.
All right, got everybody? Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, let me do this. I want to do an agenda switch, all right? I'm not amending the agenda, I'm gonna do an agenda switch because everything else on the agenda is informational for us. So if you don't mind, all right? Can I get a motion to accept the action calendar in its entirety?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Probably motion and second that we accept the action calendar in its entirety. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. All right, that's everybody in. Now we can go to, since we don't have any first readers or second readers, and this is why I did that once I noticed. I would have said this in the green room here if I noticed it, but I did not notice it until now. Director Surhad is coming, and following Director Surhad, then the manager is coming, and then we'll be ready to go to executive session. No, they got the part they came for.
All right, good morning, everybody. I will
Good
try
morning.
and keep this fast. Nothing but good news.
Good news.
For a change. Nothing but good news. So, I'm gonna hop right to the fentanyl update. So, we had 61 call-outs, which is roughly about the same as we had last year at this time. But our overdose deaths, we are at 46. We're holding pretty tight. That number is low. It is lower than the average in the country. It's coming down. I wish I could take credit for that, but I have no idea why it's coming down. I'm hopeful that it's the education that we're doing, the enforcement actions that we've been doing, and just the advertising across the country and everything. So hopefully, all that combined is why the number's coming down. Really, the only bad thing that is that we're starting to see this xylazine become more common, and that's a sedative tranquilizer, and the Narcan does not counter-react that. But of those 46, we've gotten 32 tox screens back, and another troubling thing is 10 of those overdose. The only thing in the tox screens was cocaine and fentanyl, which means that's getting mixed. And then the really scary thing is this carfentanil, which is probably about 100 times more potent than fentanyl. So, that's really revving things up. But other than that, we've had numerous people through the trailer just in the last couple of months, about 400 at the event, so that's pretty good. And then we've got 2 overdose death cases that have been indicted. One of them is in trial. They are doing closing arguments as we speak. That I am keeping my fingers crossed that we have our first felony overdose murder conviction sometime today. So that has been a 3-year process, just getting everybody kind of moving in that direction. So I'll be extremely excited if we can pull that rabbit out of the hat. The positive peer influencers, the PPI program is growing leaps and bounds. A day doesn't go by when my demand direction person pretty much isn't either in a school or training or going to an event. We're in 7 high schools, 9 middle schools, and we're just getting gobs of good feedback from the kids. The PPIs, the actual high schoolers, they are on board. They understand the message. They get it, and they keep asking us. They want to do more. So that whole program is going really good. I think this year we'll have a shot at impacting about 1,800 middle schoolers. Between doing the outreaches and actually going into the schools and doing the trainings. So that's going pretty good. We're going to add a second presentation for the fall, so for the fall semester. So we're working on that. So those PPIs will be in each semester to talk to those middle schoolers. So the TAC teams, doing very well. We've got just 2 cases that I want to talk to very quickly. We get these complaints that come in, and/or we're working off of other information. So this one, we had 3 arrests, 5 weapons, 320 grams of cocaine, 70 grams of crack cocaine. That's not something I'm too excited about. 2 pounds of meth, 1.5 pounds of marijuana. Okay, so that's one search warrant. All right, so once again, poly drug dealers. So that's pretty prevalent. That's some of the photos with that. And then more photos. And this was the second search warrant that we did on a different case. And we took multiple complaints. There was a bunch of shootings. We worked with one of the departments who was able to put that together. And, so that's continuing on as far as working with the departments. We quite regularly will, some of the municipalities will get a hot spot. They'll call us and we'll sit down and see if we can address that with them. So the major case unit. So this is, I'm extremely proud of the unit on this one. This is an extremely long, hard-fought investigation. We utilized every investigative tool at our disposal, both federally and state. So this started, and this goes to show you how long some of these investigations are. So we weren't really in the thick of it since 2019. So we started receiving information even before I became the director. Everett was still here. And the guys keep working it, and then we have other investigations going on. But eventually, it becomes our sole, major cases unit, their sole focus. All right, so we absolutely threw everything at this investigation. For about 2 months, I shut the whole place down because we needed the manpower to go after it. All right, but the results of that is this. Okay, this is 39 individuals that were indicted on RICO and stemming from a bunch of different charges. We literally did not chop the head off the organization. We literally annihilated the entire 2 organizations. Okay, and so I can't tell you the amount of man hours that went into this and how complex this conspiracy was. So during the investigation, the information that we were receiving or whatever, we were able to do interdictions, not only in the state of Georgia, but in other states. So we were contacting other entities and saying, hey, we have this information. Here's, we're pointing them in the right direction. So you can see pounds of meth, fentanyl. We knocked off several drones inbound into state prisons. And so we were working with the state, with the Georgia Corrections folks on knocking off these drones that were inbound with all this paraphernalia. So that was just during the investigation. And then when it came time to basically do the final search warrants and round up and all that good stuff, we hit 10 kilos, that's 20 pounds of meth, 1.5 kilos of fentanyl that was seized here in Chatham County. Obviously heroin, it's the usual stuff, guys, but this case was huge. And here's just some photos on this. We executed simultaneous search warrants here in the county and in Atlanta, working with the FBI and DEA out of Atlanta. So, C&T's reach is far. I think we did 14, which is pretty impressive to do simultaneous warrants that way. And then last but not least, I hope you all got your invitations to the 30th. I'm excited for that to happen. We got a pretty good little program, and I got a little surprise for everybody during that program. So hopefully it won't rain. And other than that, if you guys have any questions.
All right, questions? Questions? No, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
And just continue to do what you're doing.
Yes,
All
thank
right?
you.
And we thank you for that. All right, Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Very briefly, just wanted to, as Commander Sarr had mentioned, want to make sure everyone comes out to the 30th anniversary on the 21st out at CNT headquarters. We're very proud of that organization and what those men and women do. So please, if you can, please come out to help support the troops. Want to remind you again of the legislative dinner that we're having on the 18th at 6 p.m. at the Botanical Gardens. And we're showcasing the new shower trailer that we purchased on the 18th at 2 p.m. at Kingdom Life. Want to make sure that you come out and view that. County invested a pretty substantial amount of money in that project, and we wanted to make sure that you have an opportunity to view it. And then you got some other announcements in your packet in front of you, so just be mindful of those and answer any questions if you have any.
All right, Commissioner Farrell.
No questions on what the presented, but do you have anything to share with us on the indoor recreation center, how we're progressing on that project?
Yes, sir. We're working on the RFP documents now. We're trying to finalize those. And once we finalize those, then we'll...
Now, is that for planning or for construction?
We're doing, it's simultaneous. We're going to have a design team, and we're also looking for a construction management team at the same time.
So is this going to be a design build like they did the Skidaway Island Bridge?
Similar. It'll be a construction management risk is what we same way we did the islands and Garden City Libraries, that process we used.
So the two of them will be
They'll be working together.
So there won't be any of pointing fingers?
Yes, sir. That's our hope. That's our hope, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Trying to cut out that.
Do we have any kind of time frame on when we should have a?
I'll check with staff to see where we are in the process and get you an update on that.
All right, thank you.
But when we put the RFP out, it's got to go out for 30 days or 45 days?
30 days.
At least 30 days, the RFP have to go out. So when they get you, when procurement gets the RFP ready to go out, then we'll give you that date, and then you can count the 30 days from that. Commissioner Stone?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quickly, I know everybody has this in their packet, but the Breaking the Stigma Mental Health Awareness Car Show is tomorrow at the Tanger Mall. Y'all go out and support it. It's a great event, and it does help people that desperately need help.
Okay. Any other commissioner? Anything else, Mr. Manager? All right, let me ask this now, and I want to ask this, I saved this to ask this publicly. I've been asked if all of us have to be sworn in, all right? I've been asked if we could have our swearing in public rather than, we've been doing it in here, all right? So can we set up a public event so that the general public can be with us to be sworn in? Do we have any dissensus?
Is that a
from
party? Is that a party? No,
All right.
I agree with that.
All right, what I did was when I got the questions, all right, and I've got it from 4 different sources, I asked the manager and those to set up the date and time and the place, and so that'll be coming to you. And I wanted to do it out here because I know we've got the 2 new commissioners who've been elected, who's gonna come, and so we're gonna do it publicly. Yes, sir.
I just want to say that's a great idea, but oh my Lord, Pete Lakakis, when he won and came in and did his, he was able, to get it at the Trade Center, but he was able to get everything funded from donations.
We're working on the
So,
same.
Good.
We're working on the same.
That's all. I was just going to check,
Yeah,
see if we can
we're
try to
working
get
on the same.
donations. So,
All right, including getting the facility for free. Yes, sir.
As a matter of information, today is Commissioner Milton's birthday, so.
Happy birthday.
So long as she ain't turning 29 again. You can't stay 29. No, she going to 30. All right, now there is a need for us to have executive session for acquisition, litigation, and appointment. All right, I got them all in. All right, may I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Second.
Please cast your votes. We're in recess until executive session.
I think we're on the same page, but I think you're right. I don't think it can.
Ms. Buford.
We all want to live in a community where our children are healthy, ready for school, and succeed when they get there. But many external factors have an impact on the success of coastal Georgia's children and youth, such as divorce or neglect in the home, poverty and food insecurity in the community, even environmental disruptors such as violent storms or a pandemic. Fact is, our state ranks 37th in the nation for overall child and family well-being. It's time to create a brighter future for children in coastal Georgia. Helping them attain their fullest potential for health and well-being is what we do. It's what you can do too. Community Resiliency Model Training is a free 3-hour course that enables you as a member of the community to become trauma-informed and build resilience. You'll learn wellness skills and how you can help restore and increase resiliency in yourself and others. Resilient Coastal Georgia is helping to create a community that provides opportunities for all kids to attain their fullest potential for health and well-being. A message from Coastal Georgia Indicators Coalition, the Chatham Family Connection Collaborative, with partners including Resilient Coastal Georgia and the Chatham County Safety Net Planning Council.
I'm the